policing their own people.
Right.
Okay, so what I'm saying is,
I'm done white schools after.
And also what I'm saying, like we think we can get away and apply our loud American tactics overseas. There was a lady I covered on one of my shows. She literally went across seas and started yelling at men in their culture, trying to be in Hyena as she was over here, and she got locked up. So those people, they will put you to the test of what you think you bring in, and like, no, our law, this is how it's going to be over here. So there's just certain things that we have to take a back seat to. It's not all about us. The world doesn't spin around us all the time, and we have to be considerate. And that's why we live in a world with other people other than ourselves.
Okay.
And we have so many.
So my point was just going to be. Well, hang on. My point was just going to be because Hamp was saying, you know, we in the United States, although the movement is relatively small for now. Relatively speaking, it's not small by numbers per se, but just on the grand scheme of things within the total populace of the United States, it's relatively small. But there is a concerted effort to take away women's rights, like the right to vote and the right to, you know what I'm saying, you know, just our basic shit, right to work and all that kind of stuff like that. There is a concerted effort politically for that. So if gone unchecked or whatever like that, then I would have to go on ahead and agree with Sherelle on that point where that fight is needed.
Question.
I don't know if necessarily about, you know, worldwide shit or anything like that. I just know that politically that is actually happening like right now.
Question.
That's all.
Question. What's the largest voting bloc? What's the largest voting bloc? Callie.
For now, it's women.
What's the largest voting bloc?
I'm assuming you're asking me because it's women right now.
I guess that's.
But just because, just because you vote,
okay,
just because you vote that way or whatever like that, that does not. No, hang on. Just because those people are in office that you voted for, they do not vote in favor of what it is that you put them in there for. And we all know this. Just because you put them in there to do something doesn't mean that they're actually going to do it. And they also bypass whatever it is that, no, I'm not speculating anything. Because they actually, no, because what they actually did though, even though I know you're not pro-choice and everything like that, right? They went on ahead and they put up a vote or whatever like that for, I forgot what state that was, whether or not they wanted to have be pro-choice or anti-abortion or whatever like that, and they still put forth legislation despite whatever it is that that the people voted for. They still put forth legislation, luckily for that state or whatever like that, because the will of the people did not want it. It was, you know what I'm saying, it was voted down by the legislature. But what I'm saying is, and what I'm speaking to is that if there is a concerted effort to take away women's rights, despite whatever it is that the will of the people want and what they put them in there, or might not have put them in there for a different reason, but they're still on the back end doing some shit that ain't about, whatever. All right, go ahead. Believe what you want.
No, I'm saying like it's belaboring the point, right? I heard what you said. I'm just asking you, what's the largest voting bloc? And you edified me on the fact that people are selfish voters. They vote on one issue that concerns them the most, and people are not generally voting against their best interest.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just the common sense thing.
And I understand
and you and Callie taught me that all that shit.
And I understand if someone has a concerted, if they want women not to have their vote, but then people have to vote for that to happen. That doesn't just happen. A loophole.
Nope. That's not how that works. That's not how it works, because people voted for people who voted on immigration voted for the criminals, the actual people that are committing crimes, to go on ahead and be deported, and they're deporting people who have not committed crimes other than them being here illegally, and people who are actually on papers, who are on work visas, are actually being deported too. People, even Republicans, are complaining about that.
Okay, but you said
that's not what they voted for.
But wait, you said two things. You said that you kind of skipped that people being here illegally is not a crime. It is. So they can be disposed.
Nope, that's not. Nope. They voted for people who are committing crimes to be deported, not law-abiding.
What?
No, I'm just saying.
Look, that was the. Hey, I'm about to get real frustrated right now.
I'm not trying to.
What was campaigned on was for illegal illegal immigrants who are committing crimes, robbery, murder, breaking and entering, shit like that. That's what they voted for being deported. Okay? That's what was campaigned on. And then when you have people who are here on work visas who are getting deported, who are on paperwork getting deported, who are on DACA being deported, those people did not vote for that. Majority of them did not vote for that. And that's why those Republicans are complaining, because they voted in something that was not actually effectuated in the same way that was campaigned on, that was sold to them.
What about?
But you know this happens in all election cycles, though.
No.
Excuse me?
You gotta.
I'm done.
You gotta reply to exactly what's being said, right? Because let me ask you, Callie, if they getting caught trespassing, would they get deported? Is that a crime?
That's not what was campaigned on.
Hold on.
We're not going to play.
Can you trespass? So can I come in to where you live and can you trespass me?
They campaigned on
property. No. Because
no.
You just don't have an understanding of how law works then, right? So
no, I know how law works.
Okay, then, so you can trespass people if they're on property illegally, if you don't want them there, etc. Right? So do you think trespass doesn't exist when you cross a border that you're not supposed to? Breaking and entering?
That's not the crime that was campaigned on. No, but HAMP, I'm telling you, that's not what was campaigned on. They said we're going to get rid of all the rapists and the murderers. Hey, you know what? Hey, if y'all don't know what was campaigned on, that's fine. And if y'all don't want to listen to what I'm saying, then that's fine. Okay? But you're not going to sit over here and play in my face and act like they were talking about fucking trespassers.
Wait, hold on.
You're not doing that.
Yeah, you can't.
Can I just respond? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. But one thing Callie need to understand is that the disposition she has doesn't change anything for anybody. Everybody can still reply as they see fit and necessary, right? The argument isn't strengthened because of the attitude, right? So when you're committing crimes, you're committing crimes. They weren't saying only violent crimes. You mentioned
yes, they did. They actually did.
You mentioned. Here's the thing, right? Do you remember the Patriot Act when we all signed it?
Yeah, I remember that bullshit.
Did we read it, Callie?
No, we didn't.
Okay, so what happens is they campaign the things that pull on your emotions, right? But when you actually dig down into these bills, they cover a whole lot of shit. But of course, I'm gonna campaign on the thing that grabs your attention. That's just good marketing, and you know that you told me that people focus on one thing. You've taught me that literally.
Yes,
like one issue voters. So yeah, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna get all the killers out. Niggas say stamp that shit. But it's illegals is who they getting out. But that's regular shit. Cal, real quick. Coco wanted to respond and you could talk his shit.
Yeah. So a campaign slogan is different than what the actual legislature has and what the actual
preaching to the choir.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm saying is just because, and it happens in all presidential, not even just presidential, it happens in all campaigns for any seat in office. People are going to pull in your heartstrings, to get you to vote, and they're going to put in the legislature whatever that they want to put.
Right. So when those people that you vote for are campaigning on something else and they fuck around and take your rights, I don't want to hear shit.
But you're
don't talk to me then.
I'm
not jumping to anything. I'm literally describing the same shit, except it's women's rights instead.
But that's slightly different because a
It's not.
Well, currently, is there any legislation that says or that's
Ayo,
being proposed? I'm just asking the.
You know,
I don't know.
I'll see y'all later. Y'all not gonna play in my face tonight. I will see y'all later. Goodbye, Hamp. It was a pleasure. I will see all of y'all later. Y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. No, y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about right now. And y'all sitting over here playing in my face. Especially you, Coco, you playing in my face right now like you don't understand what the fuck I'm talking about. That's all good, okay? Hyena ban is in effect right now. I'm done. Good night.
I'm so sorry. I'm so lost. Like I really don't know. I really didn't know.
Didn't know what?
I don't know what she was talking about in terms of there's a legislation on the books for women not to be able to vote.
No, she was saying that there's a small what's what I'm looking for? Not constituent. It's maybe a constituency that are trying to build a tumult against to repeal the 19th. And she's saying that it's small, but it's growing, but you have to repeal the 19th. That's why I was asking, like, what's the largest voting blocks and things of that nature. Even with Roe versus Wade, there's an interesting argument that Roe versus Wade itself was unconstitutional because it's the federal presiding over the states. And then they give it back to the states and let the people who actually live there be represented properly, So it's interesting, and she is right. There is a group of white men pushing that.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
but
the thing.
it's small. I would even argue it's nominal, but things start that way all the time.
Yeah.
So that's her point, But that's why I was asking about the voting block, because you have to repeal it, actually,